Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered and we're doing another weapon video. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 best short swords in the game. And I gotta be honest, I was a little disappointed when going through my vast chest full of all of the weapons and armor that I've collected so far in the game to realize short swords have a shockingly low amount of variety compared to other weapons like claymores and long swords, which there are tons of. But we're going to be doing this like always. We'll go through them, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. We'll talk about damage, output, built-in enchantments, or the ability to be enchanted, and of course cover where or how to get them whenever applicable. So let's just dive on in and start off with number 10. And so starting us off at number 10, we have the Dwarven Shortsword, which you can see we have equipped here. This one has a damage stat of 16, and now keep in mind every single weapon that I'll be showing you today is with my character at max level and with the condition of the weapon at 125. So these are, as far as I know, absolute max stats that you can get with each weapon. So like I said, Dwarven Shortsword has 16 for the damage. This one is just a basic loot item, which means you can enchant it however you see fit, which is always nice. It's really the last step before your high tier medals, so it's very, very easy to grab. Typically, I start finding Dwarven weaponry and armor basically at the beginning of the game. So as far as what makes it good enough to be the number 10 spot, it is 2 points stronger than the Fine Steel short sword, and so therefore it qualifies for the list, and it even qualifies for early Sigilstone custom enchant. So you can make it quite good if you want to. As far as how to get your hands on the Dwarven Shortsword, it spawns in boss chests and on Bandit Chief from level 10 onward. The Robber's Glen Cave and Vampire Lairs are reliable loot spots for it once you've gotten to level 10. Also, you can find it for sale at the March Rider in Chillland once you reach the level threshold for doing so. So like I said, the Dwarven Shortsword is pretty basic, but it is enchantable, and it is better than quite a few other shortsword options in the game. So that's number 10. Let's move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we always have one that I find hilarious by how small and spindly it is, the Elven Shortsword, which you can see equipped here. This one has an attack damage of 18, so just slightly higher than the Dwarven Shortsword. Like the Dwarven Shortsword, this one is a basic loot item, so you'll start finding it all over the place once you get to a high enough level, and that also means that you can enchant it however you see fit. Once you've cleared level 13, it is ubiquitous. You find it literally all over the place because the moment you hit level 13, I find Elven gear spawns at a much higher rate than Dwarven gear, so you will have tons of Elven gear, including the Elven Shortsword. It doesn't come with any, obviously, base enchantments because it's just regular loot. As far as how to get your hands on it, it'll start to appear on bandits and marauders and in weapon shops by the time you get to level 13. If you're in a hurry, you can check the Choral Fighters guild racks. There's often an Elven replica that you can swipe and then enchant however you see fit. So the Elven Shortsword is slightly better than the Dwarven Shortsword. I like the way it looks in style, but I don't like the way it looks like it has absolutely no mass to it at all. So do with that what you will, but it is the number 9 spot. Let's move on to number 8. Coming in at number 8, we have the Golden Shortsword, which has a damage stat of 18. So it's the same as the Elven Shortsword, it just looks a little bit cooler, which is why I placed it a little bit higher. It definitely doesn't look as spindly, which is why I like it more. Like I said, it is slightly better looking and a little bit heavier than the Elven Sword, but other than that, stat-wise, pretty much identical. As far as getting your hands on the Golden Shortsword, you have to go to the Shivering Isles. Any Golden Saint Guard or Soldier, for example, the ones outside the Gate of Bliss or the New Sheoth Palace, have a chance to wield one and therefore drop it. So all you have to do is defeat them and you'll be able to, or at least you'll have a chance of looting this. There's obviously various different weapons and armor that they will have, but this is one of them. So the Golden Shortsword does require going to the Shivering Isles, but outside of that, it is a fairly common loot drop once you've gotten to level 13, just like the Elven Shortsword is. As far as enchantments, it doesn't come with any stock, but of course that means you can enchant it however you see fit. So that's the Golden Shortsword at number 8. Let's move on to number 7. Coming in at number 7, we've got one of my least favorite looking short swords in the game, the Glass Shortsword. I hate quite a few things about it. Obviously, the idea of a glass blade always bothers me. I know it's not actually glass, but that's what they call it. That, and then for such a short blade, it has such a ridiculously long hilt. It always bothers me. But anyway, the Glass Shortsword has 18, or a 20 for the damage stat, and so it is just slightly better than both the Elven and the Golden Shortsword. This one is mid-game loot, so if you want to get your hands on it, once you get to level 10, you'll start finding this on different types of bosses in the game. So bandit ringleaders, vampire dungeons, and boss chests are always good choices for farming it. It also shows up in merchant inventory, such as the best defense in the Imperial City. Once you hit the level gate, which I believe for glass is 14, but I could be wrong about that off the top of my head. Fairly simple to get this one. It's easily the best blade you can realistically find while looting between level 10 and 14, because once you get to 14, ebony weapons start appearing on bandits. So that's why I said I'm pretty sure this one shows up in the store at 13 or 14, but whatever the case is. The glass shortsword is, of course, basic loot, so it's enchantable, and if you really like lightweight weaponry, glass stuff is good for you because it's not very heavy. So that's the glass shortsword at number 7. Let's move on to number 6. And speaking of ebony weaponry, we have the number 6 spot, which is the Ebony Shortsword, another piece of basic loot. So this one has 23 attack damage, so again, just a little bit higher than the last one, and so this will be the best non-Daedric conventional drop that you can get. You'll start seeing this arrive at level 15, and of course you can enchant it however you want, because unless you find a version that comes with an enchantment on it, they're just blank slates. As far as getting your hands on it, there is one guaranteed method that I'm aware of, and that's to do Namira's Daedric quest north of Bravil and loot the priest afterwards. She carries an ebony shortsword at the required level. Other than that, general farming for it is any Marauder or Zivalai that are over level 15, because you'll be over level 15, has a chance to spawn with one. So I find ebony weaponry to be fairly common, especially when you're fighting anyone from Oblivion. So any of the Daedric Gate enemies are likely enough to drop ebony weaponry once you've gotten to level 15. So that's the Ebony Shortsword, which takes the number 6 spot. Let's move on to number 5. Coming in at number 5, we have the Shortsword of Order. This one has a damage stat of 25, putting it on par with a couple other ones that we're going to be looking at here. I put this one the third best out of the 3 of them, even though their stats are fairly simple. As far as this one goes, it is, of course, customizable because it is not enchanted, so you can enchant it however you see fit. It's a fairly elite sword. Once we get to the top 5, I consider all of these to be pretty dang good for short sword. As far as getting your hands on this one, you do, of course, have to have the deluxe edition, which if you have the remaster, it should include all of that. And then the steps are easy. Step 1, you liberate Kvatch, which is going to be the main story quest, breaking the siege, and then the battle for Castle Kvatch. And then outside the city, ask Ilav Dralgoner about disappearances to start a wound in time. Finish that, and then finish the sequel, saving time itself. And then all you have to do is ask Ilav for equipment to receive the sword. From him, you'll be able to get all of the order stuff. So there's 2 sets of armor, there's a bow, and there's basically all of your weapon types. They have one for each one. So you can actually get all of these at the beginning of the game for free just by doing a couple really easy missions. So the Shortsword of Order is pretty solid. It's slightly heavier than the one we have at level 4, but has the same stats. So that's number 5. Let's move on to number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have the Shortsword of Cataclysm, which is just kind of the other side of that order type stuff. It also equals the same as, like I said, the Shortsword of Order. It has the same stats as that, as 25, and the next one, the number 3 spot on this list. However, this one does swing a little bit faster than the Shortsword of Order because it weighs a little bit less, and that would be why I placed it ahead of it. As far as getting your hands on it, it's very similar to the Order one, so this one is also Deluxe Edition only. You have to finish the DLC quest, the Burning Trail, and then the Crimson Cave, and then you speak to Mehrunes Harbinger, which, after you've completed that mission, you will gain access to a spell to summon Mehrunes Harbinger, and from him you'll be able to claim all of the different Cataclysm stuff. So 2 full sets of armor, and again, a weapon for every weapon type. And that is how you get your hand on the Shortsword of Cataclysm, which is the 4th best shortsword in Oblivion. Alright, so number 3, we of course have the Daedric Shortsword, which you can see also has an attack stat of 25. So it is on par with the Cataclysm and Order shortswords. I placed it ahead of them because it's the highest ordinary or hardest hitting ordinary metal in Cyrodiil that doesn't require the deluxe DLC to get your hands on it. So any of these 3 could have been placed in pretty much any order depending on how important you find the different factors, but this one I figured was the best out of them. A, because it's real common and real easy to get, and of course it has that iconic status. It also does look a little bit better. But anyway, the Daedric Shortsword, like I said, has 25 attack, and you can get your hands on it fairly simply. So once you get to level 20, you'll start having a chance to loot this and buy it in different places, but realistically you'll probably get your hands on one just by doing the main story mission as long as you are a high enough level. So if you want to get your hands on it fairly reliably, you can open an Oblivion Gate after finding the heir, and then just farm Dremora, Kinvals, and Kinmarchers inside. They have a chance to drop the sword at level 20, of course. So, like I said, pretty easy to get in the same way that you would get any Daedric armor or weapons. But that's number 3, the Daedric Shortsword. Let's move on to number 2. All right, our runner-up at number 2 is actually a fairly cool one because I believe it's just a special variant of an iron one, but it has way better stats. We have the Debaser, which has 29 for the raw physical damage, which is actually the highest in the game. It's only outpaced because the number 1 spot has better enchantments. But anyway, this one does have the highest physical damage of any short sword that I've ever found in Oblivion, so it's got that going for it. On top of that, it also has enchantments, so it drains willpower on strike, that's 30 points for 20 seconds, and drains endurance on strike, which is 30 points for 20 seconds. So realistically speaking, especially if you keep the enchantment charged, the Debaser is a very powerful weapon because of how quickly you can hit with a short sword. But anyway, like I said, if you want to get your hands on this one, there's 2 different ways. So a quick method is you can, if your stealing skills are up high enough, you can actually pickpocket a Garmir in Talos Plaza or the Market District, depending where he is at that time, right away at the beginning of the game. So if you find him in the Imperial City, like I said, he'll either be in the Talos Plaza or in the Market District. You can pickpocket the sword off of him because he'll have it. Otherwise, if you want to take the more direct route, you have to do the mission Unfriendly Competition, and at the end of that, you will actually kill him, and then you can, of course, just pick it up because he will have it equipped. So that is the Debaser, which is the 2nd best short sword in the game. Let's move on to the number 1 best one in the game. And coming in at number 1, it should be no surprise to any Oblivion veterans, we have Chillrend, which is a slightly different colored legendary variant of a glass short sword. So I actually like this one better because it's like a light blue instead of a tealish green, so I just think it looks a little bit better. But anyway, it's also easily the best one stat-wise. In fact, it's one of the absolute best weapons in the game if you get it at the right time. So Chillrend has 25 physical damage, which is a couple points lower than the Debaser, but the enchantments make it so much more deadly. So it also has the effect of 20 points of frost damage on strike and weakness to frost on strike, which is 35% for 20 seconds. So essentially, the first swing will land you 45 points as long as it's not blocked, which is already one of the highest out of any short sword or quick hitting weapon in the game. But every follow-up hit that you do after that is then amplified by the weakness, and so if you've got it at the maximum, that's 35% weakness. So the practical DPS of this sword quickly buries literally every other short sword very, very easily, and like I said, most other weapons in general. So the reason I placed it at number 1, like I said, is that enchantment adds heavy elemental burst and self-synergy. So it's a fast weapon, and that swing speed keeps the damage flowing really, really high. It just melts enemies. So how to get this one? Pretty straightforward. You have to talk to Valis Odil at the Grey Mare, and you can find that in Coral. It's one of the inns there, to start the quest, The Killing Field. Then you have to do the quest, and in the quest you'll be escorting his sons to Odil Farm, and you will repel 3 goblin waves. You have to make sure that both sons live, otherwise you will not get the sword, so make sure you save before, starting the wave. But then all you have to do after defeating all 3 waves of goblins is return to Valis, and he'll give you Chillrend. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it is leveled, so you do want to make sure that you're not doing this until you're, I believe it's only level 15, where you'll get the max one, but basically you don't want to do it right away at level 1, because you'll get a much weaker version of the sword, both in overall damage, and I believe the weakness to frost will be lower. So that is the number 1 best short sword in Oblivion. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, requests, recommendations, or if you just disagree with anything I've said in the video, please let me know down in the comment section below. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.